thousands of Americans are counting down the hours until they can bathe their Thanksgiving turkey in gravy and cranberry sauce. It's an annual tradition here in the US that not only drives up holiday spirits, but also demand for turkey. So much so that 46 million unlucky gobblers are eaten on Thanksgiving every year, but some animal sanctuaries are calling for clemency, encouraging Americans to adopt a turkey instead of eating it. One of those places is Loving Arms Sanctuary located in North Denver. Its adoption program began in 2022 and has seen its numbers of turkeys' parents double every year. For more on what's motivating this Thanksgiving spirit, let's bring in Kelly Nix, Executive Director of Loving Arms Animal Sanctuary. Kelly, thank you so much for being with us. And I know that this story is going to rain on a lot of people's parades because people across the country do have their turkey technically already in the oven. But the idea that an increasing sort of growing number of animal farm sanctuaries across the US are promoting this idea of adopting a turkey instead of eating one, saving a turkey, promoting its care. Obviously, it's about wildlife protection. Is this something that you believe that at some point in the US could actually catch on?
Yes, good morning, and thanks for having us. I also just wanted to quickly introduce, this is Lynette Cook. She is our Education and Engagement Manager, and she's joining me on the call today. So to go back to your question, absolutely. I do believe that this is something that over time, not something that can be done rapidly, but over time, I do believe that more and more individuals would be willing and receptive to adopting a turkey versus consuming a turkey.
What do you want people to know about the sort of conditions a lot of these turkeys are raised in? Because I think a lot of people don't realize the kind of conditions these sort of commercially raised turkeys are forced to live in. They're in these sort of crowded warehouses. They're crowded by the thousands. They're genetically modified. They're forced to grow so fast, so quickly, so large that sometimes their hearts actually give out as well. What do you want Americans to know about what's happening behind the scenes every year, this time of year?
Absolutely. I'll let Lynette answer.
Yeah, so just in those types of situations for turkeys, it's 46 million just here at Thanksgiving, and it's over 600 million across the full year in the world. And those conditions are terrible for them. They have been bred by humans to get so big that their bodies just can't handle it. Their joints can't keep up with the weight that their bodies have been, forced to put on, and then they don't get to live their full lives. So a turkey at a sanctuary can live 8 to 10 years. In a factory farm, they typically live 3 to 4 months. People don't get the opportunity to see how incredible turkeys can be when they're in a sanctuary. Much like our companion animals, they're capable of love and affection. They have complex emotions, and they're really great to hang out with. So it's a really interesting contrast between the life and very short life that they live in a factory farm versus the life that they are given at a sanctuary.
It's interesting because when I first heard about this, my first thought was, my goodness, especially when you think about the sorts of conditions that turkeys are being raised in across this country and how many of them are killed every single year. My first thought was, gosh, I genuinely don't want to eat turkey ever again. But at the same time, there does need to be an alternative, because obviously this is steeped in American tradition. Everybody across the country is what you do. The turkey is the centerpiece of the American Thanksgiving dinner. So if you're not vegan, you're not vegetarian, which I'm not, what are some of the alternatives? How would you promote an alternative sort of main centerpiece for Americans to sort of gather around on Thanksgiving for Thanksgiving dinner?
So I would say, as someone who is vegan, I would definitely highly recommend a plant-based option. I know that that's not always going to be favorable or as well received by individuals who are used to that traditional turkey centerpiece. However, I do think that the plant-based food has evolved so much over the years to now where there are products out there that essentially mimic like the taste of turkey, sometimes even the texture of turkey. So you're not missing necessarily those those like tastes and those textures while you're consuming turkey. But really the part that you're, removing from all of this is that it's no longer this sentient being that is sitting on your Thanksgiving table. And I don't know if Lynette, if you have any other alternatives.
Yeah, so it's also a matter of shifting the mindset with this type of thing. Traditions happen a certain way because the way things started, but there's always room for shifting and for changing the mindset. And one thing that would super help is if people would actually learn more about turkeys, learn about what incredible, and as Kelly said, sentient beings that they are, try to find places where they can spend time with them, but mostly become educated about them. A lot of our sanctuary work surrounds around education, and because we know it's going to be really difficult for everybody in the world to adopt a plant-based diet. And we also know that rescue is not necessarily the answer for things, that rescue is a part of the solution, but it's not the whole solution. And it's through educating others that we can actually hope to make a difference, where people aren't seeing the fact that if they don't have a turkey on their plate, that it's a loss, that they can actually gain by changing their traditions and having something alternative plant-based on their plate.
Well, thank you so much for the work that you do. I mean, this story is certainly going to stay with me. I'm heading home to a Thanksgiving dinner right after this, and chances are I'm going to eat everything but the turkey because of this. So thank you so much for raising awareness, especially about the sorts of really difficult conditions that turkeys, of course, are raised in for our consumption every single year. Thank you, Lynette Cook, Kelly Nix. Appreciate it. Happy Thanksgiving to you both.
Thank you.
Thank you. You as well.